Like, I have some stress balls, Andy.
You bring them with you all the time.
I sure do.
So stress.
Hi, this is Jean Danker, and welcome to the Are You OK podcast. It's where we talk about mental health and mental awareness. You know, every single week we do have a very special guest joining us to chat more about this as we have more open conversations about it. I've known him for many years now. He's an excellent actor. He's extremely spirited. He's candid. He's also a bit of a risk taker and very fun guy. And I'm so happy he said yes to coming here and sitting on the couch with me. Hi, Andy.
Hi, Jean. Thank you for that beautiful introduction.
You're welcome.
Very flattered, yeah.
I know you've been spending a lot of time in Taiwan. You're actually a Taiwan PR right now.
Yes, I am.
And you brought your kids over there about a year ago. So you essentially did the whole single dad thing, kind of felt like.
Yeah.
Your wife has been here in Singapore working.
Yeah, off and on, yeah.
You know, I don't even know the backstory to this. Why did you move to Taiwan? Yeah, what was it?
Me being silly, I think. Okay, so the whole thing about Taiwan is that I've been acting for 14 years, professionally 14 years. I just felt like I needed to challenge myself. I mean, Singapore is really small, you know, and we have good projects here, but it also gets into like a comfort zone. I like to think that I have a certain amount of craft set and expertise and all, but you haven't really tested it in other waters,
markets,
right?
yeah.
In other markets, right? My end game is always to basically work in productions all over the world and understand culture, life, people with this method. Taiwan is a very natural first step because I have friends there. I'm a PR there, and I speak Chinese, so it's easy, right? So that's my first step. And my son was turning primary 1, so if I was not to do it then, if I was to delay a year, that means he will have to experience a very harsh change in his education. Yeah.
I was reading an article and it said something about you and your wife, Kate, coming to that decision in 15 minutes. I mean, is this true?
Right?
Is this real?
It is real. I was just toying with the idea and I was thinking about all this, and I just kind of asked her like, hey, you know, like this is on my mind. What do you think about it?
Yeah.
Then she's like, okay, let's do it.
Wow.
And I was like, really?
She's as impulsive and easygoing as you.
She's more impulsive.
Really?
She's even more impulsive. And then, so we did it. The move itself, it took a lot more money than I expected. Okay. Right? So like the changes in Singapore and then the setting up in Taiwan. And it just vastly underestimated what it's going to cost and what kind of income we're going to get, right?
Yeah.
My wife's sense of security and my sense of security financially, it's different. It could be different. She's not a numbers person, right? So she it's just a feeling. Yeah. So she felt insecure. Like for me, I'm like, I kind of think we can let's bear it for another 6 months and no income, really, it's okay. Like, you know, maybe we'll take in our investments and stuff. So basically, I couldn't fight that. I was not making an income, right? So I have no say, basically, right? So she said she has to go back. Then she went back. I'm in Taiwan and I have to take care of my 2 kids and the house and my career and everything, right?
Oh, wow.
And I am not ready to do that. I'm a Singaporean boy brought up by a domestic helper, okay? That's who I am. I don't know how to wash my clothes. I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to do anything. I just when I wake up, the clothes are there. When I eat, the dishes are cleared. Yeah, you know, that's me. That's my life, you know. And I'm just not, that's not what I do. So it became so hard for me. Yeah. And I had to take care of not just myself, but my 2 kids as well. And to basically in a foreign land, I had no support system. I was just shitty. I was just shitty. So then hard. That's how I spiraled into my first bout of depression. So so that was how it was rough, and my relationship with my wife got a bit strained at the period of time.
I would imagine, yeah.
So it got to a point. The worst point was that we just didn't talk to each other for a long time. So I was in Taiwan and I had no support system. My wife was not talking to me.
Oh my God,
right? That was not great, lah.
Yeah.
Not great, So I think that was that. So the first time she went back was, I think, when I rewind a little bit. Right?
Yes.
So because it was so rushed,
the
plan was that she will go there and set up Taiwan with the kids, and I will stay in Singapore to tie up the knots in Singapore. So when I went over, I only met my wife for about 2 weeks, and she flew back to Singapore.
Oh.
So I only had 2 weeks
with her,
internship lah.
Yes, like, this is what you do.
Yeah, this is how I do. This is how this is electric bill. This is what. This is how. These are the school fees and the kids to send to school. And I had that. Then like here, go. Like that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that was, I think, I overestimated my capability. Yeah, I felt, and I under communicated and under planned it severely. Yeah.
So that process, right? I mean, how long were you there by yourself after she came back to Singapore?
Yeah, so it happened in like about 2 cycles. So the first cycle was I went over and then I had to take care of both kids on my own for 4 months, and she was in Singapore for 4 months. So that 4 months was the roughest. So I basically kind of struggled through that, and then eventually she came back for about a month.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So then things were getting better.
Yes.
Then she decided to go back to Singapore again. Right? Yeah. But this time like no go. Like no way, I can't take care of 2 kids. I can't. I just can't. I know I can't. Emotionally, I know I'm not in a great place already. I mean, anybody that has struggled with like mental health, they know, you kind of know where you are, and when it's a slippery slope, right? Once you're on that
point,
slope, there's like no turning back. It's just gonna go darker and darker. And I'm catching myself. I know I'm on that slope already, and I don't want it to go. So like she said, okay, fine, I'll take the daughter, because my daughter is in kindergarten, right? So she can still kind of take kindergarten in Singapore. Then, but the son is in primary school, so he can't. So like, okay, fine, we split half up. So that second part was slightly easier, but not really, because I needed to go through that again. And I remembered very clearly the moment she left, I was like, there was this sense of dread, like how am I gonna do this? This is way out of my vocabulary. Like, like I'm not capable. This is like, I'm way out of my league. Like I don't know how to do this, you know?
Yeah.
But my wife is like, just taking care of 1 kid. What are you talking about? It's like, clean the house. There's nothing here. She's
like, you can do this. Like, I can do this. You can do this. She's probably thinking that way, right?
And I'm thinking like, okay, so there again, there's a difference, right? So then my thinking is like, you're alone in Singapore working? That's like heaven. What are you talking about? Like, and she's not happy working here alone, because she needs the family. She needs the kids. She wants to be with the family. Yeah. And she don't sleep well. She starts taking like sleeping pills and stuff. And that, that's the slippery slope again. Yeah. So like we were both not happy. Okay. And then these 2 cycles was really horrible. And then she came back. Every time we are together as a whole, as a family, we heal very quickly because it just works. It works. This unit works. So then she came back, and then she decided to go back again, but this time for a much shorter period. I just told her like just because she made prior commitments already. Every time there is this cycle, I tell her like, no, like don't do it. But I have no say because I have no income.
Right.
So all the way until the very last point, I say, you know what? I don't know what it's gonna take. I don't care what it's gonna take. I'm gonna pay for everything. You just stay here. Right. You do you. You take care of the family. That's what you're good at. Yeah. And then I don't know how. Again, no stand. There's nothing. Like, she just have to believe me. Like, I will. Provide. I don't know. Like, I will provide. I
will do it.
Yeah, I will do it. I will do it.
Get it done.
Yeah. So I mean that brings me to the company part, but that's another part. Yeah. So basically, that was how it goes. And then now at this point in time, I'm basically going to provide for the family fully.
Okay.
And then I'm here working, and she's taking care of 2 kids, right? 2 weeks in, I was thinking like, oh my God, my wife is taking care of 2 kids. Like, oh my God, so rough. Like, I feel so bad. I'm here,
Right.
And my wife is thinking like, my husband is so poor thing. He's like there alone, working, and I'm just here to like tai, taking care, do a bit of work, but take care of my kids. Like, oh my God, so lucky. I feel so bad. And then we didn't know, and then we were both like, shit. Then we talked to each other. Then it's like, wait, you mean you're happy? Then she says like, yeah, I'm very happy. Then I'm like, me too.
Great.
And then so now we kind of found like, now we're happy lah. Now we are like in a good, very, very good state again. Yeah.
When you mentioned about going down a slippery slope, are there things that you do, mentally or physically do something just to get yourself out of the situation, or how do you fix that about yourself or balance?
I think the first step is that I can only speak from my own experience, because I've never been clinically diagnosed with depression, right? But when I was 18, I had like a very bad breakup, right? And then that led to like, I was in depression for 18 months, like 2 years, right? And I'm very clear what that's like, right? So I was like suicide tendencies, like I was not meeting anyone, just everything was grey, just didn't felt like it's no passion, no nothing like, just basically it's just darkness. Like, so I was very clear, and that was a horrible part of my life. I mean, it's so long ago now, I can laugh about it, but when I was back then, it was no joke.
When you're in the midst of it, you can't see out of it, right?
You can't,
no light.
So like, how do you get out of it? You can't, like, in a way you can't. So, but because I know it, this time round I'm older, I have an awareness, because I didn't know what it was, so I just let it like woo down all the way to the depth, right? So now I am aware. So once I'm in that slope, I can feel myself like descending. I'm aware. So that's, I think, the first thing people need to know, like, be aware. The second thing is that when you are healthy and happy, don't think you're just going to be like that forever. Because, I mean, scientifically, it has been proven that an average person will have like between 3 to 6 depressive episodes in your life. Yeah. So it's gonna happen to you eventually, right? So the second thing is that to build up habits so that when you are on that slope, you have your habits to kind of, they're kind of like brakes, like kind of humps, right? So you hit the hump, at least you have a moment to kind of like get your footing. So for me, luckily, I had a lot of habits.
Okay.
I'm a very structured person, right? So wake up what time, and then exercise at what time, and then do this at what time, and then work at what time. So all these habits, right, I could function on an autopilot. The second thing was that I had my kids, right? So I kind of knew I cannot go down that slope because like no one's going to take care of them. I'm the only one here. That's very important also. So I needed to keep pulling myself up. If you have a support system, then that's great. I mean, if you feel like you're down the slope, then just stop everything and go where your support system is. There's this Pixar animation called Joy. Is it called Joy?
Is it the one with the 4 characters?
The emotions,
sadness
and everything, right? Where there was this part where the female character was going into depression, right? They're all living inside this girl, right? And then everything just starts to grey out. And then they were like trying to press the control button and nothing works. And then that's how it feels like, right? When you are in that space, it's like, it's not like I don't want to pull myself up. It's like I'm trying to, but the button is not working. So like, how do you pull yourself up? You can't. There's just no way. There's no solution to that. You just, hopefully your environment change. You have friends to support you. You kind of know where you are. You're aware, and you do everything in your power to kind of be happy, do things that make you happy, and understand that, like, if you keep trying, there's an end to it. I feel like you just need to bear through that. And I knew that. I knew like this is not gonna last forever. I just need to stop myself from going deeper, because every inch you go in deeper, it's gonna take that much more to get out. So I just keep trying to not get in as much as possible. And then when the time is okay, because whatever situation you're in is going to change, right? So financially, like for me, it was very financial. So financially, if I can pull myself up somehow, some way, then I will feel better, So I just start working on things that eventually will make me feel better, I feel. Then I just did that. I think that's all you can do. The rest is like, oh, baito. Like, please, like, get me out of this.
I always think like it's good that you mentioned that you need to keep in mind that even this will pass. All the troubles that you have, the good and the bad times, everything will pass. Everything is temporary. So I think knowing that and having that in the back of your mind, going like, okay, you know what, I'm just have to bear through this and get into a disciplined routine of doing things that uplift my spirits. That generally helps. What do your parents think? Were they like frustrated with you, or were they like, why did you do this? Or did they support you and kind of go like, okay, let's help you out?
I mean, emotionally, I don't go to those places with my family, because I don't want to worry them, and I don't think they are progressive enough to kind of cope with it as well.
I think it's an Asian thing.
Yeah. So I mean, my parents are already pretty open and stuff, but like, they are not the people I'll turn to emotionally.
Okay.
But I feel like, okay, so the decision to move to Taiwan, they were supportive. Basically, my parents are great in a way that whatever I want to do, they are supportive. And it's not like I ask their permission, right? I'm just letting you know. Right?
FYI,
I'm going to Taiwan tomorrow. Kind of like that. I mean, I always love my parents, and they're not perfect. We have a complicated relationship, I think, like most people. But I think, like, when you're down and out, that's when you really see family, they pull through. So I think, like, when I was so when it was really bad, and the last thing I want to do, my bottom line is, like, I cannot affect my kids.
Okay.
If I affect my kids, then I failed completely lah. There's nothing more for me to move on from there. So
Andy.
So yeah, I know, right?
Oh.
So I went to my parents and asked them to pay for half of my kids' school fees.
Okay.
That was nice. I can't get tissue.
Yeah, I know. We'll get it. No.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about
Yeah,
these sorts of
it
things, you know?
Yeah, so I went to them for that.
Yeah.
And to be fair, my kids are not studying in the cheapest school,
Okay.
right? So like in a way, but I didn't want to affect them, right? So I decided that I needed to go and find money. And I asked my parents, can you all pay for half, and
Yeah.
they did lah.
Okay.
And no questions. My family
Wow.
they don't really financially they are very stingy. My parents, they
Okay.
watch their money very closely.
Yeah.
And even in the past and everything, they are not gonna just like throw money at you,
Okay.
lend you money, and it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen lah.
Yeah.
So but like this time round, like they just like yeah, okay.
Great.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like take it lah.
Yeah.
So they gave me, and that helped a lot, right? Because that's like half of the main bulk of my expenses, right? So then there's that. There was some traveling around, and we don't have a car in
Okay.
Taiwan.
Yeah.
Right? Cars are really not expensive in Taiwan, but we couldn't even afford that. So Kate was driving the kids around on a scooter. 2 kids and an adult on a scooter, right?
Wow.
I hated that lah. I hated that. But again, no say lah. No income, no say, right? No income, no say.
Okay.
And then I decided that, okay, let's go buy a lao pok car lah.
Yeah.
Like a really old car.
Yeah, it doesn't matter as long
like
as
a
it
20-year-old car lah. I decided to go and buy a 20-year-old car. So
Right.
we just we went to, and then we kind of paid the deposit for it. I'm like, I can still afford a 20-year-old car. Then Kate's mom came in and she knew that. She found out, and then she was like quite upset lah. She was saying like, why would you do something like that? Like it's dangerous. Like what if it breaks down in the highway? Like you're putting everything at risk. And then she said like why don't I buy you a car? Then we're like, no lah, we don't want to take your money. Then she's like no, if you don't do this, then I can't sleep at night. I'll be worried.
Oh,
And she bought us a car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and she bought. I felt like these people like put through.
Yeah, they
When we
really
need it, yeah.
Yeah, and family is amazing, isn't it? I mean, they really
Yeah.
want to care for you, and that
Yeah.
when shit hits the fan,
Yeah.
they are like there for you, and that's really a wonderful gesture from her.
It is.
right?
And I mean, they also have a very strained and complex relationship because Kate is from a broken family. So her relationship with her mom has never been that great.
Right.
Never been that great. But like for the first time, I think for her as well, she saw like how much she cared, and that I think this episode brought us a lot closer.
That's really wonderful. I
Yeah,
think
it
like she also showed how much she loved her daughter, and
Exactly.
Kate saw it. Right?
Yeah, I
Like,
was
okay.
very impressed. I was like, you really should like try and reconcile and really build something on this relationship, because she has proven again and again, not just the car, but even before that, like she has her own quirks and stuff, but she's trying so hard to, to provide and help and care. And yeah, so like if anything, this episode like showed me like who are the people that are really gonna be there when you need it. Yeah, my brother, her kid sister, basically the family, right? The family they put through for us.
It's really, really wonderful. You mentioned
It
your
is.
brother. So, your brother and you decided to do something together, and you
Yeah.
have a company.
Yes, we
And
do.
you guys are doing very well. I know nothing about this. I know you're trying to explain it to me on text. I was like, okay, NFTs, gaming. I'm not sure what this is. Tell me what this is all about. I know you're a bit of a gamer yourself, so it was a bit of an easy transition into
Yeah.
doing this. Tell us what's happening. Yeah.
Okay. So basically what my company is trying to do is we are trying to be the bridge from the physical world into the metaverse.
Okay.
Specifically what we are doing at this point, right? So the first instrument we created to bridge people in is basically through gaming, blockchain gaming. So what's the difference between blockchain gaming and traditional gaming is that you can actually make money playing a blockchain game.
Wow.
Every day. And they can make roughly at this point of time about 300 to 900 USD a month. For people in developing countries, for people that are like stuck in corrupt governments,
Yeah.
that is a life changer. Like people with COVID unemployment. These are life-changing money for them.
Yeah.
So basically we now have 360 players.
Wow.
Right. And we are likely gonna be at about 800 at the end of the year. So in the next 9+. Yeah. And by the second quarter of next year, we are probably gonna hit maybe the 1,005.
Now, how did you get into this? Because, in the midst of the darkness and, you're trying to
Exactly.
take care of your kids and all that. And then
I know, right?
And then how did one day you go like, hey, actually, let me just figure this out?
So being down and out has its advantages. Okay. So, I mean, my situation was that, I was just desperate to have a financial returns, and I was not willing to give up whatever I was building in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Right. So I started to look at how to make money, right? How to grow my wealth, right? So I started from stocks and real estate, looking at them, and then learning the basics about that, how the financial system works, which artists, we don't like that at all.
Zero,
so
yeah.
but because I was down and out, I was willing and able to put myself there.
Yeah,
right.
to do
So
anything,
I did that,
yeah.
and then that led me to the next thing. Eventually, it got there. I realized there was this thing called blockchain gaming, right? So and then gaming, gaming.
Ding, suddenly the light bulbs came
because
on,
I was
right?
playing to distress anyway,
Yes, yeah.
So I was like, okay, let me give that game a try. Then I started to put in a bit more money because I did some math and it makes sense, right?
Okay,
So I'm like,
yeah.
why not? Let me buy some NFTs and rent it out on my own. And then I was like, this works. On paper, the math works. This this company, this game, it works. I've done all my research and they are good, solid. What's stopping this from being developed further? I mean, please don't get me wrong. There are risks. There's no free money in the world, and we're talking about crypto. So crypto is volatile. So you have to go in with your eyes wide open.
I mean, comparing yourself from then to now, I mean, did you actually see this happening for yourself? I mean, do you know what I mean? Isn't it crazy how just a couple of months or a year, life has changed?
It's easy on hindsight, right? So
Yes.
every time I make a very risky move, I always get the horror and the shit in my face, right?
Okay.
This is not the first time I've done this. I went to Taiwan before, 8-9 years ago. Same thing. Underestimated, overestimated myself, and fell flat. But every time after I survive an episode like that, just come back stronger.
Yeah.
And it has something to do with putting yourself in an uncomfortable position and then learning a lot more about yourself, and also having the willpower now to do things that you usually wouldn't when you're comfortable. You will only do it because you desperately need
have
it.
to,
You have to. You won't do it
Yeah.
because you want to. So somehow, putting yourself in this position always makes me give me the willpower and the energy to do things that I usually wouldn't, and that will always lead to significant improvement in the quality of my life and the quality of the life of people around me. And I see that. It's too early to celebrate, but I see the trajectory of my life has changed completely.
Yes.
And I'm thinking when am I gonna take the next break?
Already.
I know I'm gonna do it. Okay, now I wouldn't. It's after you gave birth, right? You're like, oh my god, it's so painful. I'll never do it again. Then 2 years later, I'm like, hey, should I have another one?
Exactly.
So I know I'm gonna get there eventually. And now, just my company wise, I'm meeting so many people and I'm working with different partners, and I feel like another part of me that was never there and I never imagined would be there. It's now there and it's growing, and I don't know where it's gonna lead me. And that is where I want to be. I always want to be in this I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah, but if I know what's gonna happen tomorrow, then
it's
maybe
not so
it's time to
exciting.
put yourself in that horrible position again.
Position.
Yeah.
Well, looking back, are you thankful for the darkness? I'm thankful for those times.
No lah.
Not at all. You'd rather do without them, obviously.
I mean, obviously, yeah. I mean, nobody would want that, you know? So the next time, okay, every time you go into that darkness, right, few key lessons you learn, right, is I will never let X happen again.
Yep.
That is actually what you take home, right?
Yep.
I'll never let X happen again.
Yes.
So, I've learned this lesson now, and I know when I do this again, I will be more prepared. What are the things that I didn't do right this time? My ill planning, my gut feeling, my YOLOing and everything. I could have done it in a more calculated way. I could have communicated with my wife much better. I could have understood her insecurities much better. So there's so many things I did wrongly. But those XXX, I've now written them down and I now know them. And when I make my next move, I'm sure I'm gonna make mistakes again, but it won't be these mistakes.
Won't be the same thing.
Won't be the same thing. For sure, it won't be the same thing. Yeah.
As you would know, when you are spiraling in a bad situation or you're feeling overwhelmed about anything, sometimes it's good to do something weird and out of the ordinary. That's something that you wouldn't normally do. I thought for us, we could do something pretty strange. Like, I have some stress balls, Andie.
You bring them with you all the time?
I sure do. So I thought we could throw the balls at each other. Not for fun, not to like... and also share... like this one thing that you're grateful for or happy about. You know, I think that sort of for everyone also watching and listening, it sort of takes, you know, sometimes it's just the little things that you forget about that you're grateful for and happy in your life because you focus so much on the negative.
We need to do that on a daily basis actually.
Absolutely.
But it's so hard. I mean, honestly, objectively speaking, we are all born Singaporeans, right? And we are the winners. We are the lottery strikers of the world.
I agree.
Really
We're
can't
so
complain.
fortunate.
Yeah, like even when I was in that down period, I was like, you know what? Like objectively speaking, like this can't be the worst, you know? Even at my worst, this is like people would like give an arm to live the life that I was living then. So then like that kind of kept my sanity as well. All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Okay. I am happy that you're in a better place now, and because I know how hard it must have been for you for many months, and you know, not being able to have somebody to like sort of share and support you. So I'm really happy that you're in a better place now, Andie. All right.
Okay. I'm very grateful for like the family that I have. I mean, it sounds like it's something that you say like cliche, right? But it's actually pretty hard coming from myself.
Right,
We have a complex relationship.
Right.
So I'm like, you know, I'm actually really thankful that like I have the family that I have. Like,
Yeah, man. Feel you.
Okay.
I am thankful that the people around me are healthy and happy. I think that the thing that often the fear that I have is like your parents, or for my case, your parent growing older. So I always feel like, I just want you to be healthy for as long as possible. So I'm very happy that, you know, my dad is healthy and happy and everything. So because those worries like about your parents are like next level, you know. And as a parent, you know, yourself, I think looking at your kids, and they're going to be worrying about you next time and all that. It's that same.
And then they are not young anymore. That's very scary.
Yeah. So that's hard. That's hard. Okay.
I am very grateful and thankful that we have the technology to do a podcast like this. I'm very thankful and grateful that audiences have matured to the level to be able to accept content like this.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful and grateful that we have creative people like you all that will create a show like that. Because compare this to the traditional stuff that we have, which are always bite-sized, superficial, and you know, just like tabloidy. Like there's so much more value to something like this. So I'm very thankful that I can be sitting here and doing this today.
Me too.
Yeah.
I am thankful that we are kind of like slowly but surely getting out of this pandemic. This pandemic just is has flawed so many people, and you know, it's sort of changed the way you feel about yourself and the way your fears about the future, like what is going to happen in the future, right? But I feel like things are opening up slowly but surely as we take precautions here in Singapore, but it feels like we're moving somewhere. So I feel like there's hope for some kind of normalcy, and it's making me feel like a bit more normal again. So
Okay. I need to redeem myself. So I'm gonna say I have a lot of things I've always arrogantly felt like I deserved it because I work hard for it, right? Which I shouldn't, but I do feel that way. But there are also things that I felt were gifts, and I'm very, very grateful for those because I didn't work for them. They were just given to me. So one of them was my passion for acting. Like that has basically been my lighthouse for all my life. I'm very thankful for the second thing, which is my wife and my kids, because in a way, my wife and my kids, they were not chosen by me. There was a guiding force that just made it happen in my life.
Yeah.
And I'm very thankful because, again, I was not a go-getter for that. It was a gift. So I'm very thankful for the gifts in my life. Thank you.
Oh, on that wonderful note, thank you so much, Andie.
Thank you, Jean.
Thank you. You can keep that stress ball.
Oh, I need
We
it.
have like 12 more in the basket. It's been really, really wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Thank
you for
you.
sharing and being kind and being open.
No, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Are You OK podcast. What an insightful time that we had with Andie. I really, really enjoyed it. And hopefully you picked up a little something from today's episode as well that helped your brain a little bit. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Jean Danker. Till the next one.
Relax. And the next thing you know, she burst out laughing.
No!
She burst out laughing. I was like, what's weird? Did I say something wrong? She said, no, I can't take you seriously.
No! Are you serious?
Yeah, she was like,
Oh my
I'm just waiting for you to sing or something. I was like, oh my gosh.
You need to bust out some moves.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.